kindly put me in handcuffs and placed me on the curb of my law office building. You can actually Google the story, just type in "Dennis attorney arrested in Houston, Texas." Now, come to find out, the lady who cleans the building had tripped the alarm to Chase Bank. And so the Chase Bank operator did what Karens do and said, well, yeah, just going out there. And so the cops showed up, they drew their guns on me. Now, how many of y'all are from Texas? All right. So one common thing about Texas is that we all have guns. And I had my gun on me. Glock pistol, pretty common. And so as the police came up behind me, they did not announce themselves. They came in the dark. When I seen them out the corner of my eyes, they had on dark clothing. So as far as I'm concerned, when my face is in the ATM machine, you know, these could be robbers. So what happens to Attorney Dennis Sperling if I do what you would do when you think people are robbing you? I'm shot down in the street. And so my message is to all you professionals here, especially you Black American men and women who think that just because you've attained some PhD or JD or whatever you got, you are still subject to the same thing that the other Black people that you may think that you're better than are subject to. So I hope this is a wake-up call for you all. If it can happen to me, a very successful, very well-known attorney in front of his law office, it can happen to you. So let's not pretend like this is not a problem, because a lot of people, they'll say, oh, well, you know, it just happened because you weren't doing something right, or you shouldn't have resisted arrest. I literally could have had a hole in the back of my head. You understand? So this is how serious this issue is to me. So I want you to keep that in mind as we continue forward. This is as real as real can be, because our main issue here in the United States is that you know, we are still the same people that they thought we were when they brought us over here. So keep that in mind. Questions, because if they have all the answers, they're not going to ask you questions. Most folks incriminate themselves. So just shut up, lawyer. I want to talk to my lawyer. I want to talk to my lawyer. Well, you know, we got a sandwich over here and a bottle of Sprite if you want it. I want to talk to my lawyer. That's the best thing you can do. And then you call somebody like Brother DeMarcus over here, and then he'll handle it from there, okay? But that's the first thing you should understand. Don't try to litigate your rights on the side of the road. And I think that's pretty common sense sort of answer right here.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I hear, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
piggyback off that. It's really hard to fight what I call the police lie, which is I was in fear for my life. That's a hard one to fight, because even in places where the judges look like you, they give officers what you call a subjective standard. So even if the ordinary reasonable person wouldn't think, hey, you know, DeMarcus wanting to call his sister so she can hear what's going on, like that's not threatening. But, you know, I've seen many occasions. I saw one 2 weeks ago in Dallas County Court where I had a client who was stopped for, they say he was speeding. That's a whole nother issue. But then he gets stopped and he tries to call his girlfriend to put her on the phone. And this is a black state trooper who got real aggressive with him real fast. And in court, what did he say? Well, I was in fear of my life. It was for everybody's safety that I didn't want him to make that phone call. And I say that to say, like, that is a really, really, really hard lie to overcome. So just be careful.
And I'm wondering why that's a hard lie to overcome, just because, like, it's so readily available for them to use. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Because, like you said, when the cameras go up and the phone calls start happening, they get even more aggressive. So how do you then protect yourself in those moments?
Well, as Mr. Sperling said, first of all, you want to survive, because you can't tell your story if you're dead. That's first and foremost. If you don't have any sort of dash camera in your car, get it. I drive a Tesla, and it comes with cameras, and I still put more cameras in it. I have a body camera on me on many occasions, and it might sound like overkill, but It's one of those things that can save you. There was recently a lawyer who lives just north of Dallas who was driving in his Corvette on a Sunday, just as he likes to do. He's been practicing for over 30 years, and the police got behind him and tried to say, and arrested him, tried to say he was evading arrest. If it wasn't for the cameras that he put in his own car, he'd probably be facing trial right now in a county that's not Dallas County, so it wouldn't be as friendly. And most people, I mean, even many of our own, just want to believe the police. They do. And so you don't want to be in a situation where, you know, you've got 12 people deciding whether or not you can lease an apartment somewhere a year later because you're a convicted felon. You know, from then on, and even when you're dead, you're still a convicted felon.
Excuse me, sons, close your ears. Politicians are like strippers. If you give them $500, man, you get everything. You understand? I'm just telling you, it costs $35,000 in Harris County in Houston, Texas, to fund a judge's campaign. $35,000. That's like a cheap, that baby Benz or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Now imagine if we got together. Just listen, hear me out. If you want them to hear you, pay them. You understand? You want to be able to walk in your congressman's office? You and 5 other people get $500 together. They hear everything you have to say. They like strippers. I'm trying to tell you. I know you like Mr. Sperling. That's inappropriate. But no, it's their job to write those laws. I don't know how to draft a bill, but I know the legislator does. And if you get together with the group of folks in here and you take it upon yourself and you save yourself, black man, then guess what's going to happen? You ain't got to worry about Mrs. Spurl, because Mrs. Spurl going to hop on the plane and be gone in about an hour. But you're going to be here. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's do this. Let's stop as a group of people, and I want to see you with my normal, natural eyes. As a group of people, let's stop waiting for the white man to save us. Let's stop waiting for Jesus. Jesus is not coming back anytime soon. You have to save yourself. You have to be proactive with yourself. You got to get that boot out and start putting it off in people's backsides. Use your money, use your talents, all this brilliance here. And I want to give a big shout out to Tariq Nasheed, because let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
I like that young man. You understand? He put this together. This is what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? And if he can do that, use that example. Don't wait for me. My back hurt, my knees hurt, I'm getting old. I ain't doing it. But you look at you standing up straight, man, you're strong, you can do it. And that goes for each and every one in this room. Save yourself, black man, and save your family. That's what I'm saying. Okay?
Yes, sir.
God bless you, brother.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Sir.
And the fact of the matter is 90-something% of school teachers are white women. Okay? And we like to believe that people are going to do their jobs professionally, not going to bring in their political views or their more racial views, but we know that is not the case. I'm not saying that most of these white female teachers are racist, but we know a lot of them are. And if we think that's not impacting the way they interact with black students, we're fooling ourselves. But then we got black teachers who have inherited bias against black students. I have seen white students misbehave, and they get to spend the day with the principal getting snacks and being his little buddy. A black student may just giggle in class or get out there seat without permission, and the black teacher, you see, that's the problem with our people now. You see, we don't know how to listen. I've seen that happen too many times. So the systemic issues that affect our children in school are the same issues that affect them outside of schools. But in the case of academia, we as black people need to do what these white parents did when schools reintegrated. They took their kids out and started the little private schools. We have a right to be educated by the public school system because it owes us, but I am pushing for us to take our kids out and educate our kids ourselves. We want to get black men out the home, so they said to black women like, hey, if you're married, your income is going to exceed what we need as a qualifier for you to get these homes we're going to give you and these food stamps we're going to give you. They weren't giving black women what, they were putting them in the slums. Unlike government assistance for white people, which gave them 300 million acres, gave them a free college education and pension. Government assistance for black people was really about just making sure that the families were dismantled and keeping black people in poverty, but if you work any harder or if you get any more wealth, they disqualify you. So you don't make enough to do well on your own, but they want to keep you in a position where you'll never be able to succeed. That's exactly how these special education programs are used against black students in schools. They'll say, okay, when I was in kindergarten, they told my mother they wanted to put me in a special ed service. And I want to say, why? And they said, because I did too well on the test. They said his score was far too high on the test, but in this test, it was really low. So that's showing an imbalance. My mother said, so let me get this straight. You're saying that he knew all his numbers from 1 to 100, he knew all his colors, he knew how to write and complete sentences, he knew the difference between a hop, a skip, and a jump, but because he failed this test, which required him to do like some type of pre-algebraic performance, which I didn't even have to take that test. My mother said, no, absolutely not. I have seen a lot of black kids who were put these special education programs or a school wanted to put them into it. One little girl I had, I'm not going to say her real name because I can't. She was going to Okatee Elementary, which is one of the highest performing schools in South Carolina in my area. And they were saying that she needed to be in special ed. Her mother, with whom I grew up, who's unfortunately deceased now, she died from COVID, refused to believe that and found out I was teaching at another school. Her mother brought her to me. By the time that little girl left me, she was 2 grade levels above where she needed to be. So they try to treat special education like the government assisted the public education system, where it keeps us down, but it seems like they're helping us. They're not helping us, and I'm not saying those services don't have their place in some cases, but a lot of times with black students, it's something they want to overuse because they think black kids are already special ed anyway. What they did, there's a law or some policy where we have to respect it. And I think that's insane. And I know in some states they're passing laws now where if the parent doesn't respect the kid's gender identity, now the parent risks having their child taken from them and face charges. So I think that's insane, but what are we going to do about it? If we're not the policy makers, and we're not, then we're going to have to abide by the policy if our kids go to these schools. So again, I'm of the mindset that we need to police ourselves, we need to rule over ourselves, and we need to educate ourselves. So that's the answer I have for that.
I would actually ditto everything there. I mean, at this point, we have to take control of that kind of narrative, and we've got to make sure that, we just have to be at the forefront of that conversation for ourselves.
Thank you.
As a school counselor, I've been
Teacher, usually, they were writing essays with me, 7-page essays, thesis papers, research papers. I go to follow them next year, they are turning in chicken scratch and getting B's for it. Now, some parents say, well, my kid's passing, he or she is doing well. Okay, but passing what? If they're passing something that a teacher's given them on a 2nd grade level and they're in the 11th grade, that's not helping your child. That's called low expectation. And that's the #1 issue I have seen happen in schools. When I would see students misbehaving, especially my black students, I would get on them about their behavior. And the white people say, you're being too hard on them. You know, they come from poverty. You know, let them express themselves. No, I was expecting things from them. The school system, by and large, has no expectations, high expectations for our students. They almost want them to perform down. And when you perform low standards for students, usually they're going to meet it. So that's the bigger issue we face right there. As far as why parents are not involved, is because it's hard to detect when subtle anti-blackness is happening, because it is subtle.
You have anything to add?
Absolutely. So a couple of things. Let's talk about the systemic issues that we see specifically in STEM and STEAM education, right? So I am one of 2.4% of Black Americans who have a degree in STEM, right? That's 2.4% of all Black people in America who have a degree, college degree, but specifically in STEM. So obviously we're already, there's an issue there, right? Because we know, and the data shows us that when you have degrees in STEM and you have degrees in STEAM, a lot of times that means economic empowerment. A lot of times that means additional opportunities. A lot of times that means potential generational wealth, right? And so being able to, and having the opportunity, even the opportunity to have adequate access to STEM and STEAM education is something that, unfortunately, our school districts and our, it doesn't really matter the schools, but specifically our students who tend to be overlooked and undervalued, right? A lot of times we just, that's just how it is, right? We had to do something, and it's really important for us to do something about that. And you talked about the subtle things that happen, right? So I know all of it, I mean, for those of you who may have gone to school with students of other races, I definitely remember what we called it microaggressions, right? Different things, or the teacher would talk to us differently, or, you know, the students would treat us differently, right? So these little microaggressions do have impacts on students. And so it's really important for us to be aware of what's happening in school with these teachers and what they're teaching, how they're treating our kids, how they're treating our students. That's also very, very important. So just wanted to add those two things.
Of course. And then, considering coming off of a pandemic, and I hate to keep bringing this topic up, but it posed a lot of problems for different students having to attend school via Zoom or, you know, over a computer or a laptop. Can you speak to what that did to kids in education today?
Absolutely. So we all know, we all were tired of being on Zoom all day, right? It didn't matter what our jobs were.
Pests galore, and you know, you have rodents that will kill the plants. How do you keep them away? Because I don't see any decoys or scarecrows. They said, well, we identified the pests that will come to the garden, and we came up with some solutions that we can use to naturally deter them. We found plant, we found oil, so they taught them chemistry. They teach your kids marksmanship. Black people teach our kids how to use and fire guns now, okay? Now. I don't know why some of us are adopting this white liberal mindset that guns are bad. No, guns ain't bad. Things get bad or worse for us when we don't have guns and know how to use them. So they teach their kids how to fire guns. And I said to them, do you have an SRO, police officer? I said, where's security? And he looked at the kids and looked at the staff. He said, we need the security. He said, let someone come up there. And he had a security surveillance system. He taught them how to wire that. That's audio and video. So yes, home skills are very important. In a lot of public schools, they've taken those things out. They took out home economic classes, and survival courses, marksmanship courses. Those are things that a lot of public schools are wary of introducing because they can be so controversial. When we don't have to deal with the government overhead and we have our own autonomy, we definitely do need to teach them home skills, from culinary arts to marksmanship, how to be a responsible gun owner, but how to be a skilled gun user as well. I'm going to try to take Black history out of school. Anyone who's been in the school system as a student or as a teacher can tell you Black history's never been in school. However, on social media, you will find several Black people who are doing these social media lessons about all types of matters of Black American history. And I've seen some parents using that to teach their students things they will otherwise not know. And how many of us have ever done home projects? We couldn't afford, I know I couldn't afford to pay someone to do it. We go on YouTube and look at a video and find out how to do it. So we need to use technology to our advantage. Now, we like to think that kids today are so tech savvy. They're not. Okay, I can promise you they're not. I used to think that my students were tech savvy. Come to find out, the only thing they know how to do on a phone is look at fight videos. That's literally all they were doing, looking at fight videos, and they knew how to go on social media and get into their little social media beef that they didn't want to come to school about and fight. They didn't know how to type. They didn't know how to do basic research. And when it comes to more advanced things like cybersecurity and coding, they didn't have a clue. So just because our kids are on technology a lot, don't let that fool you into thinking they know anything about technology. Meanwhile, these white kids and these Asian kids, they're doing coding. They know how to hack into anything and take over it, while some of our kids at times, some of them, are just looking at fight videos and doing social media dances and going viral. So if we're going to use technology, one, we need to have a way to monitor it. There's a system called Go Guardian. I used to love it as a teacher. You can see everything that a child is doing online. Okay, everything. You can lock this screen down. Have ways to monitor it. Number two, we need to make sure it's used in moderation. You need to know how to survive in case that technological device is no longer available. But you also need to know how to use it wisely. And 3, make sure they understand the science behind the technology, because that's a burgeoning field right now, the tech industry, and our students need to definitely be able to compete with other students as well.
Your business. So you can literally research different software that do the specific job that you're talking about. Because you have email, you have CRM software that allows you to be able to automate your emails, gather and collect data in a specific database, as well as create AI that responds to customer service, inquiries, FAQs, all of that different type of stuff. So you have different ones. I'm not going to name them because they're not paying me to name them. But you can Google them and then you can utilize those as well. So, but it's big for businesses because at a certain point when you're trying to make a certain amount of money, you have to automate your processes because one person can't send out 500 emails to your 500 clients, right? So you have to email that process. And another thing too, as business owners, we have to start looking at the profits that we take in and see, okay, what person can I pay that can take away these tasks that I have to do, right? And then implement and then train that person on the system, and then that person can now operate the system for you that can now take your operation from 500 clients to 1,500 clients, right? And then it's just wash, rinse, and repeat. And then that's how you go from a 6-figure company to a 7-figure company to an 8-figure company, right? So there was a question over here, then I saw a question in the back. So
I'm currently learning IT, and I'm taking a computer. I think it's a 1001, 2001, something like that.
A+.
Yeah, A+. I'm doing that, and I keep passing the multiple choice question part, but the hand
Labs.
That's where I keep failing it. So, is there any good advice, website or somewhere I can go to get hand-on-hand experience? Because I keep failing that.
I got you. Is it the hardware or software portion? Because it's 2 tests, correct?
Yeah, the hardware.
Okay, so do you have a PC at home?
Yes.
Did you build it?
No.
Take it apart and build it again. I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm serious. Take it apart and build it again. Like, understand, hopefully Dad don't get mad that if you mess it up. But no, seriously, that's literally what I did.
only $500 in
And
total.
you do a payment plan too.
And you can do a payment plan. So when I told y'all about the $100, that was me. I didn't have the $500. So I had to pay the $100. And you pay the $100, and then you get on a payment plan for $150 every 2 weeks, and you have access to the course.
So nobody has an excuse.
So you have no excuse. Thank you, brother. You have no excuse. If you can't spend $100 and bet on yourself to be able to change the trajectory of your life, then you're not wanting to change it. You're not wanting to change it. So you can go follow me on Instagram, click the link in the bio, hit Course Careers, because that helps me out. And then you have more than welcome to reach out to me via Instagram. We can connect on LinkedIn. All of my information is on there. We can connect on LinkedIn. And I help people all over the world who have joined Course Careers, who have questions about the final exam, who want questions about specific areas, want guidance in job hunting and things like that, putting in your resume, because they also help you with learning how to put the emails to the recruiters and the talent acquisition, right? Because once you apply for a company, then the good practice is to follow up with an email so that you get the attention of the talent acquisition. So they help you with all of that in Course Careers for only $500, family. So you really have no excuse. And to your question, brother, about how your daughter can get in, I would highly recommend Course Careers. Again, very inexpensive. Information is extremely valuable. I got plenty of notes and things of that nature, and that's going to take you to the next level.
Say your Instagram one more time, please.
Brother King Cam, and that's brother spelled out KINGCAM. And once you go there, you can click the link in my bio, and you'll see Course Careers affiliate, and it'll take you to the Course Careers website. And from there, you can look at the testimonials. Brother Ben talked about people putting these courses out and everything that they do, and how much money they made, but you need to go and look at what the students are doing, right? The product of this education, the product of this course, and how it has helped them. That's how you know if the information is real or not. And that's what got me into Course Careers. And I think I have one of the highest viewed interviews on Course Careers and how it changed my life. So a lot of people reach out to me about it and how it's been able to change my life. So that's what I would recommend for those, because I don't want to tell y'all nothing that I didn't go through. So if that's it, family, we appreciate everybody for coming.
Not hiding. They're doing the open lynchings, yes, in all forms. We're seeing black-looking people come out left and right, and a lot of the things that we told you, that the military and that the police force were infiltrated. I did a piece on Aftermath, the news channel, not too long ago, and I put it on my social media platforms first before I did a broadcast. An Israeli consul, some time back, in a private meeting that she wasn't expected, that she was being filmed in, she said, an Israeli consul, think about that. She said, the black American youth are the threat. Did y'all see that broadcast that I did somewhere? Did y'all hear what I just said? How many of you all remember the Iran-Contra conflict? That's involving two different nations, yes? And then Iran, did you know that they was playing us like that? Yup. And that it was interrelated to us, that we are geopolitics, that we're international, whether you know it or not. They fear us. And Mr. Farrakhan said some time back that a good man, a good woman is known not just by their friends, but their enemies.
That's right.
We must understand our value and hold the line. Let me say this because I do spiritual courses. I will give you on joyfulvicki.com. Just reestablish and rebranding my spiritual school. But let me tell you something. When I was dealing with the health I was dealing with, and that unjust case and all that led to that over years, someone asked me, well, Vicki, how did you get through that? Because I was getting it from Wall Street high-level officials and not only feds, but other pages. Some of it was sloppily redacted, and the judge to this day refused to have the government to actually turn over other documents. I still don't have a lot of the documents for which I was convicted in an almost 2-week trial. But one of the documents they sloppily, a few of the documents I should say, they sloppily redacted showed that some high-level folks in Wall Street and the feds that were pressing them actually to come after me. And I found out that when I was in one of my foreclosure forums that I was participating in, that one of the plants was sitting there. Some of that stuff was in some of the documents. And so when I began to think about that reality, and somebody said, well, how did you get through that? When your spiritual, religious folks are running from you, you say, oh my God, well, she must have done this. She must have done this. Multiple foreclosures, divorce, deaths in the family. Everything was going on.
Talk black to me. Yes, queen, yes.
So Dallas, Fort Worth area, that's where we are. Yes?
That's right.
Somebody help me real quick, because this is a full circle moment for me. Somebody, where's Carswell? Somebody said Carswell.
There are others that are given not too good cards. I have seen people who have been given a perfect hand lose. And people who were given a rough hand, they win. Because it's not the cards you're given in life, it's how you play it.
Sir.
And there is such a complete, supreme love I have for our people. Because I don't know if we realize how great thou art. I don't know if we really realize this. Because if we really realize this, we would get up out of these chairs after all is said and done and get out here and do something for the children that are going to be born in the There are others that are given not too good cards. I have seen people who have been given a perfect hand lose. And people who were given a rough hand, they win. Because it's not the cards you're given in life, it's how you play it.
Sir.
And there is such a complete, supreme love I have for our people, because I don't know if we realize how great thou art. I don't know if we really realize this, because if we really realize this, we would get up out of these chairs after all is said and done and get out here and do something for the children that are going to be born in the year. Not for this generation, not for the next generation. I want to know, where will our children be in the year 2123? How will they call our name? What will they say about us? What will they say we did? And it makes me no difference what station in life you are. Whatever you do, wherever you are, stewardess or steward on an airline, post office worker, nurse, doctor, it makes me no difference. The question is, what are we going to do now that we know how great we are? What are we going to do? That's the question. When our sister Vicki Dillard was talking about home and family, homes a safe haven. We have to make our homes a safe place for our children. We as teachers have to make the classroom a safe place where children can come and learn. I use the acronym occurrence. Opportunities for learning, environment for growth, and experiences in the individual and social settings. Occurrence. Nations and dynasties are not built from baby daddies. Family, there are things we have to talk about. Everybody wants to get healed, but nobody wants to get the operation with bloodshed. We got some intellectual and mental, whereas the other one was sly fox. As opposed to the brute wolf. Malcolm says, don't forget they both belong to the dog family. And now we are at the end of this next one. The Omen Empire. This is falling, family. Their economic system is falling, their spiritual system is falling. They're fighting amongst themselves. This is the Williams syndrome. In another way. Don't get in the way. Mind your business. Okay. That's right. Dr. Cocker said, get some popcorn. Watch the show. Come on, family. We've got to do something, because even if what I'm telling you is true, the question is, are we ready to educate ourselves? Do we have an economic system in place? Are our brothers and sisters getting along with each other? Are we building families? Because you see, people build nations, but families build dynasties. Nations rise and fall, but dynasties last forever. Family, what are we doing? What are we doing? We can look out there and blame them. We know what they're doing. Nobody's better at knowing what they're doing than us. The real question now is we have to ask ourselves, what are we going to do? We need to support the Hidden History Museum. I've been talking to the conference, I get some ideas as an educator, how you can bring children into that museum and give them an experience that they have never had before. I had the experience in the museums of New York. So
because the reality is this enemy genuinely does not care about what we call ourselves. I've sat in rooms and had conversations with people who represent different aspects, you would say, of the sciences, the politics, the laws, government, you name it, and the constant thing they say is, listen, you guys say whatever you want, but when you kill each other, it kind of makes it easy. You can call yourself whatever you want, but we watch what you do. See, again, you can call yourself whatever you want, but we watch what you do. This is why now when I hear them talk about this term woke that white folks stole, nothing in it. I saw a white man randomly say, they're going woke. You will always be a slave if you do not own your own things. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
This is why exactly when you start talking about show me something physical. Why don't you just, we'll give you a statue. That's physical. We'll name a street after one of your people. We'll give you June. Black History Month. Martin King Day. Say it again. Oh, Supreme Court. That was a good one. That was a real good one. Supreme Court okay, see, the funny thing is, we can name all these things, but we can't name a state that we own. That's not consciousness. That's not awareness. That has nothing to do with the original melanated form of the higher state in connection to the supreme being. That's what woke really is. Your mother and father, the black man and the black woman. Does that make sense? That's what true wokeness is, but of course, like virtually everything else, they decided to commandeer it, steal it, give it a completely different meaning, and destroy what we have built up in a positive manner. Does that make sense? Yeah. We don't get into the politics of things because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that politic means multiple blood suckers. Say that one more time, y'all like, man, that was a whole word. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said politic meaning multiple blood suckers. So how that people get into who we're going to vote for now, who are you going to vote for tomorrow? Did anybody change your condition?
Exactly.
But you keep voting. You keep voting. Your ancestors died for you to vote. Said, ooh. Don't ever disrespect us like that. They died so that they could vote for another slave master. Stop it.
That's right.
No, they died because there were such things as slave masters who would not give us the ability to be human beings, and they deprived us of such a thing, and they put an institution in place to make us believe that there was a way out through that. When the reality is, if you don't have tangible things that you own, tangible things that you control, tangible things that you manage and build, your independent schools, your independent hospitals, your independent businesses, entering into international trade and commerce.
A round of applause. Who has the VIP wristbands? If you got VIP wristbands, raise your hands. All right, VIP wristbands, if you go out that door, some of you are gonna have gift bags for the people with the VIP wristbands, all right? Out that door. If you don't have the wristbands, some of y'all over here, y'all didn't raise your hand. If y'all don't have the wristbands, we got some Waffle House syrup. But anyway, ladies